Today we're going to talk about Litha, the ritual practice that represents the summer solstice. Litha is one of the Sabbats that takes place during the light half of the year. It is the Sabbat that represents the summer solstice. It's also known as Midsummer. Litha is a fire festival. Beltane is a fire festival as well. We have something called a bale fire. Bale fire is a special fire that wishes are made over. Litha is the peak of the sun coming back to the sky. It is the peak of summer. It is the peak of the sun. It is the peak of that power. So any fire built around this time is going to be in its full strength. With Beltane, you make the wish. On Litha, it starts to manifest. It is much more of an action-oriented Sabbat. It is much more about movement. It is the most masculine of all the Sabbats because it does represent the sun, which represents the god. There is always this part of the ritual that is about the Holly King and the Oak King, one representing the dark half of the year and one representing the light half of the year. The Oak King is in his full power right now because he is the light half of the year. But all of a sudden, he's going to pass the torch, pun intended, to the Holly King, who is going to see his power coming back because the days are going to get shorter and shorter once we pass the summer solstice. And that's when the introspection begins. That's when all of the internal energy starts to come back in the midst of all of this fire. With Litha being all about the sun, of course, anything that has to do with light is going to just take prominence, so the color yellow. Sunflowers are very much emphasized around this time because they basically represent the sun coming up from the earth. So it's a beautiful way that heaven and earth come together, manifested in the sunflower. So it's a great thing to put on altars, cooking with sunflower oil, sunflower seeds, and taking in that energy of the sun. Also honey, the bees and the pollen and all of that yellow and all of that gold, bringing the sunshine into you and letting it shine forth. That's the whole idea behind Litha. It's a reminder to you to let that fire come out, let that passion come out. You can start your wish on Beltane, but you should really start to do whatever you can to make it happen around Litha, because Litha is all about your fire coming forth and making a chain reaction of what you want to put out into the world. So you have the winter solstice, where that is the longest night, and then you have the summer solstice, which is the longest day. That is all about there being an extreme. A lot of times you will hear about solstice observations going on at Stonehenge. They perfectly mark and frame the rising of the sun during those times of extreme light. There's a reason why all of these things are set up the way they are. Special altars that are everywhere. A formation. Markers and mirrors of nature. They're just ways that we celebrate nature through our own creations. There are a lot of different ways that we observe Litha. We've done things with torches, bonfires. This year, I'm very happy to incorporate a prayer wheel. It's round, it represents the sun beautifully. And the spinning, of course, is always going to represent the movement. When it spins in a clockwise manner, what you're doing is you're building the energy. So if you put a special intention in it, you're building it, you're bringing it all towards you. If you spin it the opposite way, you are releasing anything that no longer serves, or possibly something that may be getting in the way of what you're trying to manifest, like a belief that you don't deserve it, you can't have it. Releasing all those possibilities that hold us back, because Litha is all about the fire that burns and cannot be contained, and it must manifest.